It's man like Dan. Come on! Welcome to Melanated Proud, but this channel is all about inspiring, empowering, and showcasing the black community. And today is nothing different because you know what? It's all about unity, innit? So today we're gonna have a special conversation with a big motivational speaker. But before we begin, if you're into the channel and you really like what we're doing, make sure you subscribe. And I want you guys to be open as well. But sharing your life, your journey is not easy, innit? So comment below, let him know how you felt this conversation's gone, connect with him, and yeah, really support everything that he's doing. Okay? Without further ado, let's welcome the big man, Mr Beezy. Come on.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, bro.
Honestly, thank you for coming on. I know the weather's not that great, innit? But before we begin, can you just tell me, I wanna know like where you from, like country wise, area, all of that.
Hey, country, I'm Nigerian.
Yeah.
Area, I was born in North London, then moved to East London, so I rep North and East.
Come
side
on,
of that
come
London,
on.
you know?
And wait, so you was born in Nigeria or you're from
No, I'm from
okay,
Nigeria,
cool,
born in UK, but
yeah.
raised in North London, then moved to East London.
Okay,
Oh,
cool. If you don't mind, like where north was you?
Tottenham.
Tottenham, okay. And then east. You don't have to say that now. You don't have to say that now. It's cool. But okay, I get it. But cool, from Tottenham, right? Say nothing. And so like, how was like your sort of home setup? Were you born with both parents around?
Yeah.
Siblings, all of that?
So, family-wise, lived with both, well, grew up with both my parents. Got 3 brothers as well, so Christian household. That was my setup.
Are you the oldest, middle, youngest?
I'm the second. I was the
Second.
middle, but yeah, I got the fourth one came, so then I
Okay,
became
cool.
the second. You know?
Okay, cool. And so like, in terms of like, let's just say childhood, secondary school, all of that type of stuff. Like, how was life for you then?
It was cool, you know. Like, I think secondary school and school in general, like, I was very popular. But I didn't really enjoy the academic side of things. But I think I always knew that I wanted to go to university and stuff like that because it was drummed into me from when I was a child. You know, African parents like, you must go to uni,
Yeah.
raise your book. So I always knew that I was gonna go to university, although I didn't like the academic side. So I guess for me, it was more of a thing of making sure I find something that I like and I enjoy doing. But yeah, I was pretty well behaved. Like, yeah, did I get in with the wrong crowd a bit? Yeah, but I wasn't like bad. But
Wait, so if it wasn't like uni, what do you think you would have done? Like, if you didn't go through the academic route, what was your other
boy,
interest?
football, you know.
Okay, cool.
I enjoyed football. I was pretty good at football.
Oh,
But
you
it
support
was,
Chelsea, innit?
yeah, I'm a Chelsea fan. I know.
Fair enough.
But I think for me, it was a thing where because it was interesting at the time. I had a football agent, and he was talking to me at the time about possibly getting me some trials with Queens Park Rangers at the time. And I remember like telling my dad in it, and he was just like, "Go to uni." That if
Wait,
football,
how old were you then?
I was probably about 18, yeah,
All the
17,
good
18.
ages.
Yeah. But you know, African parents, and you say you want to do football, and they want to give you that security. So for me, it was I never had no one really backing me to support that dream. And that whole thing of if it's meant to be, it will be. And then I went to uni and I kind of drifted away from like playing football, and the dream just kind of died. But if not for that, then I think I would have probably tried to pursue football quite heavily.
So would you say like, to start off with, you didn't really know what path you wanted to do? Like, okay, football was there, but outside of football, you didn't really know what you wanted to do.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I always had like an idea, you know, like I enjoyed acting, I enjoyed performing arts. So I always knew like I enjoyed media, and that's what I even went to go and study at university. But it was just, could I tell you the exact job I wanted? Could I tell you the exact role? No, but I kind of knew the sort of industry that I was interested in working in for sure.
And so like now you're a motivational speaker. I know that's one of the things that you do. I don't know what else. And I had you on LinkedIn for a while, innit? And I was thinking, okay, I want to know more about his story, innit? And 'cause I just feel like every motivational speaker has got a story. There's a reason why you're doing what you're doing, innit? And like, I was just curious, and I feel like, yeah, reaching out to you was good timing because I think later on that's when I stumbled across some of the video that you was on, and yeah, we can shout that later as well. And so like, can you just let people know, just very briefly, why you became a motivational speaker?
Yeah. Interesting question because I never actually wanted to be a motivational speaker.
Mm,
I always say it was God that
mm,
had it as part of my plan. Being a Christian, I was a youth leader in my church, so preached to the youth in my church a few times, and it's interesting because I was at a stage in my life where my job was coming to an end. I had probably had 2 3 weeks left,
mm,
and we're on like the young adults in church. We're on like a Bible study on Skype, and one of my friends, this girl, messages me privately, and she goes, "Oh, do
mm,
you have a job?" And I just kind of said no. I don't know why I said
mm,
no. And she's like, "Look, I think you'll be really good at this company that I
mm,
work for." And I was like, "Well, what do they do?" Like, she's like, "Oh, they send speakers into schools, this and that." I said, I don't know about all that."
mm,
She said, "Yeah, but you're good. I see with the youth in church." I said, "Listen, that's church." I
mm.
said, "Schools and church is two
Yeah.
different things, yeah." I said, I've never considered that ever in my life. I didn't even know people got paid to speak, kind of thing. So she's like, "Look, just give it a go, kind of thing, you know.
Mm,
Come along, observe, and take it from there." I said, "All right, cool." And when I went along to see the first two speakers kind of speak in the company, they really motivated me, and they had me thinking about my life. And then on the other side, I was looking at them work, and I was like, you know what? I can see myself doing what they're doing. I can see myself connecting with the young people, running joke with them, and just having a real impact on them and traveling the country doing it as well. And even from that moment, yeah, I think it was the first opportunity I got to speak. They gave me like a 5 minute segment within an assembly. And although I only had 5 minutes, I had a queue of young people waiting to speak to me after the assembly, and I wasn't even the main person speaking.
mm,
And they were saying to me like how I've motivated them, how I've changed their life, and I was just like, raw, like
mm,
I just kept it real with you. Like I gave you advice that I would give to my younger brother,
mm,
and then even from then, it still took another 2 years of me speaking back to back, week in week out, this school, this university, where it really just imprinted on my spirit like this is your gift,
mm.
this is your calling. It's time to take it seriously. And then boy, here I am, 14 years strong in the game, and
Come on.
just because obedience, I would say, man. So it's not that I wanted to be a motivational speaker, but God kind of just showed me that this is the path that He's mapped out for me, and then I just kind of just took the steps.
Mm. So even like I was saying earlier, like a lot of motivational speakers, in my opinion, if you really are a motivational speaker and you're being authentic about what you're doing, more often than not, you've gone through your challenges, isn't it? So what would you say like were some of the challenges that you went through that you overcame in the end, but like that kind of like started things off for
I think the biggest challenge I've had to overcome is myself.
you? Mm,
And I say this to people all the time because you have to overcome your own thoughts. You have to overcome your own mindset, right? You have to be able to motivate yourself when you're in that dark place.
mm,
You have to be able to motivate yourself when there's no one else around you to motivate you. If there's no one to look up to give you advice because you've got to be able to do that for yourself. So I think that's the biggest challenge is discovering how to get to where I am today. I've had to do it essentially by myself.
mm,
I haven't had anyone to hold my hand. I
mm,
didn't have a coach. I didn't have a mentor to say, do this and
mm,
don't do that. And no, you shouldn't do it like that. I didn't have that. So everything I've done, I've had to learn along the way. And that's been the hard part because you don't know where you're going wrong until you go wrong.
mm,
And you don't know when you're going right until you do it right.
mm,
And I think that's hard because it's like, okay, cool. There's that uncertainty of am I doing things the way that should be done? You just know that you've got this message, you know that you want to impact lives, but there's an art to it as well. But where
mm,
I didn't know about the industry, I didn't know about all these things. I was just raw and
mm,
rough around the edges. Do you understand? So I think for me, the biggest challenge was really learning how to cultivate the gift that God has given me with speaking
mm,
and learning how to make myself visible and get myself out there so that I can be seen. Because, one thing I say to people is you can have a gift, you can have a great message, but if no one knows that you exist, then it's pretty much pointless.
mm,
So I think one of the hardest things, especially as a black man, is to go out there and make yourself visible and show people that you have this great message that can transform lives without people being afraid of you, being intimidated by you,
mm,
seeing you as a threat.
mm,
There's so many things that come with it that are challenging.
mm,
And for me, I've had to overcome all those obstacles when I'm the only black person in the whole school.
mm,
When I pull up to the car park And before I've even got out of my car, people are knocking on my window asking me, why am I here?
Mm,
You know, those stereotypes of, oh, he wears a hat.
mm,
Oh, can you dress? No, this is how I dress.
mm,
It's challenging,
mm,
but you got to stay true to yourself and know who you are. And I think for me, so it's in my head just saying, "Do you know what? These are your morals, these are your values, this is what you stand for, and don't be shaken
mm.
by whatever happens around you. Stay true to yourself. Stay
But
true."
do you feel like that sort of learning was possible without adversity? Because like in general, like people learn
Mm,
in different ways. Okay, yes,
mm,
you can read through information given to you, but I honestly feel like most lessons come from adversity. They come from some sort of life events that force you to be in positions where you kind of like have to like learn a lesson or like
mm.
change your way of thinking. What's your opinion of that?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent.
Mm,
Um, I said this to someone the other day. I said, desperation breeds creativity. And what I meant by that is when you're desperate, when your back's against the wall, that's when you get the most creative. You know, I think of that Liam Neeson film Taken.
mm,
You know, his back was against the wall. His daughter's been kidnapped, and it was against the odds. Now I'm desperate. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to go and get my daughter back. I'm gonna ring this person. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna take a plane. When your back's against the wall, that's when you get really creative, right? So yes, adversity is a teacher, but don't get it twisted. I always say to people, it's actually quite inspiring when you don't go through adversity. Like it's inspiring that you know what, your parents didn't get divorced, you had good education, because we don't hear that enough. And that side of the spectrum is also just as inspiring, and you can learn, right? And I think the key thing is you either learn from warning or you learn from experience. And I always tell people experience might not be the nicest teacher. And that's why people like me do what I do. So guess what? I can help you learn through warning versus you learning from experience. Does that make sense?
mm,
So yeah, adversities does teach you lessons and you do learn things, but don't get it twisted. You don't have to go through adversity to learn.
mm,
You don't have to go through adversity to grow. And that's why I do what I do. So some of the adversity that I've been through, you don't have to go through.
mm.
Do you see what I'm
No,
saying?
yeah, it's a good point, man.
Mm.
Because obviously, you being where you are, that's to stop people from making the same mistakes as well, isn't it?
Facts.
So that's how people can learn. And if you don't mind sharing, like, obviously there's different things you've gone through in life, innit? But what would you say are some of the experiences you went through that, yeah, just kind of like transformed
Um, there's a couple of experiences. I guess I'll talk about my time in university.
you?
Pick up everyone from Coventry. Woo, woo.
Mm.
Nah, I'm joking. But
Yeah.
on a serious note, yeah, yeah, university was the time where I say I was really challenged. Why was I challenged? I was the most popular guy in my university. Like, there's not anyone in my uni who didn't know who I was. Like, and that's from my first week when I got to that uni. Like, I brought a lot of people together in my university who are still friends to today, right? And I say that to say that life that I lived a very fast paced life, raving every single week, chilling with the guys, doing illegal things. And I think at that stage in my life, I was trying to discover myself again. Because you'll hear that a lot of people rediscover or recreate their identity when they're at university, right? And I think for me, especially because I never knew I was gonna go down the motivational speaker path at this stage when I was in university. Yeah, bro, being on the roads, like doing road stuff,
Mm,
without going into too much
mm,
detail. Yeah, bro, that was the most challenging time for me because it was like I was living a life that I wasn't raised to live.
mm,
I came from a good household. My parents had good Christian morals. Like, they were onto me, right? My dad was very strict. So it's not even like you could say I was a wayward child and my parents weren't there to give me love and support. No, they were. And then you realize when you flee the nest and you get that independence,
mm,
that's when now, okay, cool. What are you really about? And for me, that season of trying to rediscover myself, because there's a part of you that's like, oh yes, I'm free. I want to just explore. I want to experiment. I want to get out there because I've been restricted for so long. And then there's another part of you that's just like, rah, like, what do I do?
Mm.
Like, how do I manage this? Right.
Mm.
So there was a lot. And I think that season of my life really taught me how to become a man. Stuff like, yeah, and it's minor things like, you're fending for yourself, from paying
Mm.
your bills, paying your rent, cooking for yourself, just managing your life, learning about, so for me, even at uni, learning about the importance of credit. No one had
Mm.
educated me about my credit score, before university. My parents, God bless them, they didn't educate me in these things. So this is what I mean when I was finding out things for myself. So I was
Mm.
literally finding out how to live life when I was at university. And I think that's probably the most challenging thing, where when I've had conversations with people since I've left university, they're like, yeah, my parents or my dad or my mum told me this. I'm like, rah, your parents actually told you? I said, I never
Mm.
knew that.
Mm.
And that was a shock to me.
Mm.
And there was a part of me that had a bit of resentment.
Mm.
It's like, why didn't you pat me? Why didn't you put me on? And it's not that they didn't pat me or put me on, but you can't teach me something you don't know.
Yeah, facts.
And I was like, rah, that's deep. And there's so much that my parents didn't know that they couldn't pass down to me and my brothers. So I had to discover for myself. So now you're learning, and guess what? You don't have the best role models to learn from. You've got people that are showing you how to do things, but they're not doing it the right way. And these are the type of things you have to learn, and you really discover what type of person are you actually trying to be. See, this podcast is about community and uplifting the black community. And okay, in the black community, what am I going to do to be someone that helps, right? Because what I see in the black community is we don't collaborate,
Mm.
we don't help each other. I had other speakers before me become intimidated by me,
Mm.
and gems that they could have passed down to me, they kept to themselves because they saw me as a threat. And I'm like, but I'm not competing with you.
Mm.
I just want to be the best speaker I can be. So if I take something that you do that's well, like, you should see that as a respect, because I'm like, yo, what you just done is sick. I want to use that.
Mm.
But this way, like, you're taking my stuff.
Mm.
I'm like, rah. Another guy is like, oh, me and you working in the same school is a conflict of interest.
Mm.
Where
But
another,
how have you dealt with that though? Because it's like, I guess one of my mottos is that like we can all win in like everyone's got their own value, everyone's got their own purpose. Like you can thrive in that. But like you said, rightly so, many people will feel threatened. Many people see that competitive nature, and I'm just wondering like, how you've dealt with that. 'Cause like you said, you would have gone through so many different scenarios, both professionally, externally, like
mm,
where it might have felt like it's a competition, and you're just trying to have tunnel vision. Like, how
yeah,
do you deal with that?
I think for me, going through what I went through with not really having someone to look up to or to guide me that was just genuine. You
Mm.
understand? 'Cause the people that say, yeah, I got you, but they ain't got you. Trust me, they ain't got you. So what I did, how I dealt with it was, now that I'm experienced, 14 years into public speaking, guess what I do? I pour my speaking into other speakers.
Mm.
I pour my experience into them. So I decided to become a coach, and I coach other speakers to develop their speaking brand, to become confident speakers so that they can go out there and spread their message as well. There are clients that I have that I literally get them to come and shadow me at the schools that I speak at, and I introduce them to my client so my client can now book them. That's how I'm paving the way for people, because I don't see you as a conflict of interest. My thing is this: let the client have the best person. If you're better than me, take it. It's going to be hard for you to be better than me, but do you understand?
Mm.
But if they feel like you're a better fit for them, I'm not going to gatekeep. I'm not going to stand in the way.
Mm.
Does that make sense? But it's like, people know you're not the best for the job, but you want to hog the position, and that don't make sense to me. If I'm the best for the job, they're not going to look elsewhere. How do I know that? I've got clients that I've been working with for 10 years. If there was someone better than me, they would have gone to them. And that's not to say, like, and hear me out, I'm not saying this to be arrogant. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
No,
I believe in myself. I know
yeah.
I'm a good speaker, right? But I'm saying that to say, when people know something is good for them, they're going to keep going back for more. right? And it's the same with the speaking game. So for me, I don't need to be threatened by you because I'm genuinely happy for you and I'm happy for the client if they believe you're the best for them.
Mm,
I'm happy if they think I'm the best for them. But what I will do that is different to a lot of speakers is, yo, I'm gonna open the door for you though.
mm,
Because me and you can actually work in the same school actually.
mm,
That's my mindset. So
mm,
I don't see it as you're a threat. I'm like, yo, let us all eat.
mm,
Where some people wanna just eat for themselves and you can't go far like that, man.
mm, mm. Yeah. Honestly, what you're saying is just hitting different decibels, man. Like, 'cause even just the whole collaboration aspect, that's one thing I've noticed in different conversations I've had with people as well, innit? And it's a real thing, man. And I remember on that video, I forgot the name of the YouTube. Faith off record.
Yeah, faith
Yeah,
off the record,
he
yeah.
said a line which was like, "The grind isn't glamorous.
Yeah, facts.
The grind isn't glamorous." That stuck with me, and like being a motivational speaker, doing it as your full time sort of job, like I'm sure it wouldn't have been easy because, like you were saying, like people might act like, "Oh, it's gonna be a straight walk in the park, all these bookings, etc., etc." But I just love how transparent you was about how the grind is glamorous. And can you just let people know what you meant
Facts,
by that?
bro. Thank you for bringing that up, man. Let me reiterate it. The grind ain't glamorous, yeah?
Yeah.
And this is what I'd say because it's so funny you say that. Because when I'm training people or people considering me being their coach, one of the things that they say, oh, yeah, so am I going to get speaking engagement? I'm going to get
Mm,
speaking engagement. And they're so hung up on getting speaking engagements. And yes, I help people to get paid speaking
mm,
engagements, but don't get it twisted. That should not be your mindset. Because before you get paid speaking engagements, you got to be a good speaker first.
mm,
So don't ask me about speaking engagements. Are you good at public speaking?
mm,
That's the first thing that's going to get you booked. But let me tell you the journey. And this is what I say. You weren't there when I was getting paid peanuts to speak.
mm,
You weren't there when I was getting £25 an hour.
mm,
You weren't there when I spoke for free.
mm,
You weren't there when I've had to sleep at coach stations.
mm,
You weren't there when I wasn't making enough money from speaking, so I had to get a second job. And my second job was at the rubbish dump. And when I say at the rubbish dump, you know when the dustbin men come and collect the rubbish, I worked where they dump the rubbish.
mm,
And I was working 13-hour shifts. I would start work at 6 p.m. at night. I would finish work at 7 a.m. in the morning. And in that 13 hours, I had a 45-minute break, one 15-minute break, one half an hour break. And I'm doing this in the cold of winter, right? And I'm on the conveyor belt. And I'm separating the plastic from the cardboard from the paper. And I'm seeing rats, not mice, rats
mm,
running through the park. I'm telling you, 20 rats.
mm.
And the only thing that's keeping me sane is that I got these steel cap toe boots on. So I know if a rat runs into my foot, I'm not going to feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah? And you have to understand, I'm doing this job at a time when I'm traveling the country telling people to live their dream at a time when I'm not living mine.
Mm,
But you know what I said to myself? Because I was talking to people when I was at this job. It's like, yo, how long you been there? Oh, I've been there 5 years. I'm like, rah, 5 years at the rubbish dump? Spoke to my supervisor. Yo, how long you been working here? Been there 15 years. 15 years at the rubbish dump. And it reminded me of something that Eric Thomas said when he was homeless. He said, although I was homeless, my vision wasn't homelessness.
mm,
He said, one day I saw myself not being homeless, one day I saw myself being a success.
mm,
And Eric Thomas today charges $200,000 for a speaking engagement.
mm.
He speaks to NBA, NFL, the top companies in the world. You know what I said to myself at the rubbish dump? I might be working at the rubbish dump right now, but my vision isn't the rubbish dump.
Mm.
One day I see myself being a successful speaker. One day I see myself being in a position where I never have to do a second job again to supplement my income. And I think you've got to get to a stage where you don't live life based on your current circumstances, but you live your life based on your vision. And for me, that's how I overcame that season in my life and that challenge, because I just never lost sight of my vision. I never lost sight of what I'm working towards and what I'm trying to achieve. And I think at times when people go through adversity and hardship and challenges, they lose sight of the picture. And that's when you have to zoom in and never lose sight of the picture and remind yourself on a daily basis. I know it's hard right now, but this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing it. And I think for me, that's what helped me.
What you said, yeah, the grind is not glamorous indeed, man. And I feel like you being open and honest about your journey is so valuable because, like, you don't even have to say that. You can just make it seem like it was chilled, it's minor, like you can get it's easy. But you even just being open about where you've worked and how your work ethic had to be as well to be able to achieve what you've achieved. It also puts people into like realization where it's like, no, unless you're actually committed to this vision, there's no point even trying. Like, you have to actually be willing to get your hands dirty. You have to be willing to be patient. And I think one thing you said before was like, um, one good way to test whether you're in it for the long run is to ask yourself, would you do it for free? And like that really just stuck out to me, and it's so true. Like, if you really believe in what you're doing, if you really know that your motives are, I guess, correct in your sense, like, would you do it for free, or are you just instantly thinking about that money? Because money is not going to keep you going long term. It's that vision. It's that why. And I remember you said before, like, people need to know that why, but I want to know your why. Like, what is your why?
Yeah, man, it's deep, man. I think naturally growing up, my why is my mum, first of all. See my mum struggle. See my mum provide for me and my brothers. It was deep, man. And I think being in a household with 4 boys, my dad, and then my mum, and my mum basically being the breadwinner for the household, it was hard to see the woman in my life that I've known intimately just struggle and sacrifice. So I think for me, I just always had it in me that, yo, one day I just want to give back to my mum. I just want to see my mum rest. It wasn't even about like, oh, I just want to see my mum rest. I want to see her happy. I want to see her not have to worry about money ever again in her life. That was my biggest drive, do you understand? And obviously now I've been married now for 2 years, obviously my wife, and I want to provide for my wife and give her the life that she deserves. And of course, when we have children, I want to bring them into a world where they're comfortable. I don't want my kids to ever have to go through what I've been through growing up. So I want to make sure that I'm leaving a positive legacy behind for my children. So for me, that's my drive, that's my why. Like, I want to make sure that my kids are good. And if I can do that, then I'll be content. Do you understand? So for me, that's what drives me every single day, knowing that what I'm doing is bigger than me. Will I enjoy some of the fruits of my labour along the way? Of course. I'm gonna buy a nice watch, I'm gonna buy a nice car, I'm gonna go on some nice holidays, I'm gonna buy a nice house, but that's not what's driving me. What's driving me is my family. And knowing that God has called me to something bigger than myself. So as well, like, I want to do what God has called me to do. Like, like, I want to be able to say, like, I ran my race. Like, I left the world empty. Like, there's nothing I can say that, oh gosh, I could have done that. And like, I want to leave empty, bro. Like I said to someone the other day, every single video that you see me put on YouTube, it's not for likes. It's not for views. I said, that's my legacy. Those videos are going to be motivating people and inspiring people long after I'm gone. I said, that's what it's about for me. That there will be someone that will watch my video who wanted to commit suicide and no longer wants to commit suicide now. There's someone watching my video who was self-harming, and after watching my video has found it within them to stop self-harming. There's someone who watched my video who doesn't know their identity and now has rediscovered their identity. They've got their confidence back. They're able to become the best. That's why I do it, bro. So for me, it's about legacy.
Oh, strong, man. Like, and your why is quite long as well, and so like that's why you're so like consistent as well.
It's sorry, just to cut you. It's about the root.
Yeah, like that
my root is deep.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I think your why has to be deeply rooted. And I always tell people, for number one, you can have more than one why. But two, your why has to be strong enough to motivate you when you can't motivate yourself. Because there's whys, but is your why strong enough? Like a lot of people are, I want money. Is the thought of money strong enough to make you do your revision though? Because if it isn't, it means your why is not strong enough. I said, but the thought of your mum might be strong enough. So you got to get to that place where your why is strong enough to motivate you, no matter what you're experiencing or going through.
No, what you said about the depth is so true because that's what keeps you rooted. That's your anchor. Like even you think about what anchor does, it keeps the shit from sinking in it. And without that depth of your root, that dream's gonna fade. That dream's gonna collapse. Like it's gonna just fall. And so, yeah, man. Like just hearing that just shows how deep it goes. Like what we all need to do in general is to like make sure we even reevaluate our why and see whether it's strong enough. Because when the seasons come where it's windy, when it's stormy, like is it gonna stand? And what I want to ask you is all, like, as much as like you overcome stuff, there's also this pressure element that comes with it as well. You've got this reputation now. You've got your wife. You've got your other ambitions. You're doing your coaching academy. So my first question is, how do you deal with pressure?
I think it's understanding that pressure is part of the process. You know, Eric Thomas used this analogy of a diamond, and I want to kind of repeat it on this podcast. He said, diamonds don't start off as diamonds; they start off as a piece of coal, but they go through a process to become a diamond. And it goes, the first thing they go through is pressure, extreme pressure. And it goes, everybody wants to be a diamond, but no one wants to face the pressure that comes with it. Then it goes, the next stage of forming the diamond is the diamond goes through extreme heat. It goes, everybody wants to be a diamond, but no one wants to get burnt along the way. Then he said, the last stage of forming the diamond is they cut the diamond. And he goes, everybody wants to shine bright like a diamond, but no one wants to get cut like a diamond. So for me, it's understanding that the process was never designed to make you fail. The process was designed to make you succeed. So everything you're going through right now, that pressure is part of your process. Now, what does process mean? The pro means produce, the cess means success. And the whole purpose of the process that you're going through right now is to produce success in your life. So because I understand pressure is part of my process to produce success, I don't let the pressure break me.
That's deep. The pro, hey, rewind. The pro is produce and the cess is success. To produce success. Hey.
God gave me that revelation a few years ago.
Hey, that's mad. Wow. Hey, take notes, you know. This ain't a joke, fam. Hey, okay, I'm keeping that one. Yeah, that's nice, man. Like, wow. And because I'm just thinking, like, yes, there's this, like, I don't know, this journey you go through in terms of, like, understanding, okay, cool, I'm going to be this motivational speaker, but also to maintain that level, even go beyond, there's a pressure. And, like, what are some of the new challenges that you face? Because, yes, pressure might be one thing, but, like, there could be other challenges. There could be mental challenges. There could be even systematically, like, the opportunity you're getting, whether you feel like you're restricted. Like, how do you still navigate through that?
Do you know what it is? It's crazy, but it's two things for me. Being a man of your word and following your own advice. Because it's easy to tell people something, but do you follow what you say? And I think that is the key thing. Just be a man of your word. Like, have integrity. So for me, and here's my thing, I don't sugarcoat things. I don't act like I'm perfect. I make it known. I still have my challenges, guys. I still have things that I struggle with. And I think people appreciate that. I think a lot of speakers present themselves to be this finished package. Like they're polished and they're good and they got no areas that they need to work on. No, I've got areas I need to work on. And I think people appreciate that authenticity and realness from me. And I think where they can see me, so for example, if you follow me on social media, you'll see that Monday to Friday I post when I'm in the gym.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm working on my goal, bro. That's something that I'm working on. I ain't there yet. And I think where I show that to the world, I'm not showing you before and after, I'm showing you during. And a lot of people like to show before, a lot of people like to show after. But they don't show you the during, they don't show you the process when they're going through the go through, the days when they feel like giving up, the days when they're not in the mood, And for me, I'm showing you every aspect. I'm in the gym. Hey, guess what? Didn't make gym today, guy. That's the process, bro.
That's what you want to see though, because even you just speaking reminds me of a time where like I was battling with like my health, and I was so desperate to find a video of someone that's going through the same process, but it was so niche that I wasn't able to see it. If I was seeing it, there was no success story.
Mm.
There was no method. So, but at the same time, it forces you to find that method, to find out how you can overcome it. But I'm just saying, there's a need for someone to also be real that they're going through the same thing. Or obviously, everyone's battle is different, but to see someone's going through a process and they're not finished, because like where we at, we're all polished. Like you become less relatable, and to see you still persistent, pushing to achieve your goals, that's motivation. Even you just going to the gym is motivation. Even if the person doesn't go to the gym, that's motivation in some shape or form to keep going. Whatever task it is that they've set to do, just seeing you try to go is enough. And you being like, okay, cool, I didn't go. Because the reality is that no one's 100% all the time. And I feel like it's important, like you said, like that you model it. And so what I want to ask you is all like for someone that could be going through like some insurmountable amount of stress or challenges that's really really going through it right now. Like what advice would you have for them? Like how can they come at that sort of space?
I think the key thing is number one to get your mind right.
Mm.
But before you even get your mind right, I remember my friend said something to me years ago. He's an unbeliever. Well, for the sake of the podcast, someone who doesn't believe in like Jesus, right?
Mm.
He said to me, bro, I've known you for like most of your life.
Mm.
And he goes, you just seem to just always be happy. And I said to him, it's not that I'm happy. I said, but I have everlasting hope.
Mm.
Because I know no matter what I'm going through, I can cast my burdens onto God.
Mm.
You ain't casting your burdens onto anyone.
Mm.
So when I go to prayer and I pray, there's a release and there's a lift off from me, and I pass it on to him, as his word says. Do you understand? So I think for me, it's knowing that you got to put yourself in a position where those cares that you have an outlet that you can cast it onto. And I encourage people to find Christ. You know, cast your cares onto him. He forgives you. He loves you. You know, you feel so much better. You feel that weight lifted off. He doesn't judge you, right? And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, because they're trying to figure things out for themselves. And this is where faith comes into it, right? And the key thing about faith is faith doesn't make sense. It makes faith, right? Faith is believing in the unseen, what you can't see, right? Faith looks stupid to the human eye, but it looks perfect in God's eye. So because I believe in God, I cast my cares onto God. So even when I don't feel great, well, what does the Bible say? When I'm weak, he makes me strong. So I know that when I'm weak, I can draw strength from God. Understand? So in those days when I might be feeling down, discouraged, it was David who said that, I think in First Samuel, because David encouraged himself in the Lord. So sometimes you have to get to a place where you encourage yourself. You can't rely on family. You can't rely on the spouse. You can't rely on friends. You have to get to a place where you're able to encourage yourself. Why? Because it's your life. It don't listen. I can read the Bible. I can pray. I can get all the most motivational videos, but I have to do the work. No one can do it for me. You can pray for me, but you can't make me get out of my bed. You can't make me say, okay, today I'm going to take action. You have to get to a point where you are prepared to make that decision. And I think at times we want to sugarcoat things with people and make them feel good. No, I got to give you a reality check. I ain't here to make you feel good. I can't rub your back right now. I need you to know that you need to make a decision to change your life. You need to make a decision to get rid of that depression. You need to make a decision. And I think we are raised in a society where we've become soft. You go on social media and people are like, oh, you can't say that. I don't know, be mindful. It wasn't like that back in the day. If you're going through hardship, yo, you gotta get over it because we got stuff to do. And I think sometimes we need to go back to that old school mindset of where you ain't relying to get the answer from your phone, but you're really in the trenches learning how to overcome these obstacles. So for me, I just think people have to get to a place where you just have to make a decision. You know, I went through a season where I would struggle with depression, right? How'd I get out of that? I made a decision. I asked myself, is this the type of life that you want? And you got to look at yourself. Is this the type of life that you want? And if the answer is no, what are you going to do about it then? Because you start looking at, okay, but that person didn't do this and that person didn't do that. What have you done? Before you start talking about anyone, what have you done to help you? I went to a school recently, a college actually, and some of these students were still trying to use COVID as an excuse. I said, well, 4 years down the line, COVID is not an excuse. Don't talk to me about COVID because unless you're social distancing, then you can't leave your house unless you're getting your essentials. COVID ain't impacting you.
True. Let's talk about that excuses actually. What's the dangers of that?
The dangers of excuses is because you manifest your excuses. Your excuses can become a reality that you now believe and buy into, and that's dangerous. And you have to remember, excuses are exactly that, excuses. So, what is an excuse? An excuse is something that is stopping you from doing the thing you actually need to do. And you have convinced yourself by telling yourself a story that this is why I don't have to do that thing. Oh, it's raining, so I don't have to. Oh, I'm hurt, or my belly hurts, so I don't. It's an excuse because you know deep down, if you was getting paid a lot of money, you would do it.
Facts.
So I think when it comes to excuses, one of the best ways to find out if you're making an excuse or not, if someone wants to pay me £1 million to go and do that thing, would I do it? How I'm feeling now, would I do it? Like I tell students all the time, who struggles with focus? I struggle with focus. Okay, but if I paid you £10,000 to not get distracted, would you try? Yeah, 100%. You don't struggle with focus. Then. You just haven't found a reason that's strong enough to make you want to focus. So that's what an excuse is. I just get distracted. No, you don't. Because if I put £10,000 cash there now, you're gonna try your best. Your friend will try and chat to you. Shh, don't talk to me. So really, I think you have to attach a reason that is, for you, you see it worth it. And I think a lot of the times, and you know what it is, I think when people find things difficult, that's when they make excuses.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people, just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's not doable. And I think we have grown up in a society, especially today, where they want things to be easy. Why? You can watch videos on your phone. If you don't like reading, you get audio book where they read to you. Everything's been made convenient. You go Tesco, if you don't want to cook, guess what you do? You get a ready-made meal. You get a meal deal. This world has trained us to lap up convenience. And I think you have to understand when you're achieving what you want to achieve, if you want to get to a certain level of success, you have to understand it's not going to be convenient.
Well, I think that's the thing. You hit on the nail. I feel like people haven't been taught how to actually get through a difficult situation. Now, many people manage to do it through their own self-discovery. But why certain things keep repeating themselves is because there was no lesson that was taught. Like, you're meant to train up your children in certain ways, but maybe because certain people themselves also made excuses, it's just like a repetitive cycle where people don't know how to manage a challenging situation.
No. Let me tell you why I challenge that. You get to an age where you're old enough and mature enough to think for yourself. And you now have to start making some decisions for your life. Right? Because let me tell you something. Everybody is always in a position where they can make an excuse.
100.
Do you understand? Where that person never did that to me. That person never taught. But at some point, someone has to learn, right? At some point, someone has to learn. So stop saying, "Oh, I wasn't taught." If you wasn't taught, then learn. If no one's trying to bring you to the table, create your own table. If no one's trying to give you a job, create your own job. Like you get to a stage where it's no longer this person weren't. What are you going to decide? Okay, I'm going through a hard time right now. You got to figure it out then. You got to figure out how to get through. Do you understand? You ain't always gonna have the answers. And I think that's the problem in the society. You want someone to keep giving you the answers, where you've also got to be prepared to find out some of the answers on your own. Like, there's no way that we can prepare you for life if we keep giving you all the answers. Even if I want to teach my child the value of money, I'm gonna get them to go and work. This is the exchange for the work. They might not. They could be in a position where they don't need to work, but I'm still gonna make you work so that you can learn for yourself. Because there's a job that you have to do for yourself. When I speak to these kids in private schools and their parents are millionaires and the parents are handing down the business to them, but guess what? The parents can hand down the business to them, but they can't hand down willpower to them. That comes from within. They can hand down business acumen and knowledge, but they can't hand down effort. And that's what I'm saying about there are just some things in life that have to be self-taught. And that is based down to the individual. Are you willing to go through your go through? Or are you just one of those people that you want everyone to give you the answers and hand down everything to you? So for me, you just have to understand that yes, if we can give you answers and help you, of course we will. But also do not be deceived. There are also some things that you have to discover and learn for yourself.
No, that's facts. I agree, man. Like, there's so many excuses in different shapes and forms. There was a book I read, I think it was The Magic of Thinking Big, and it framed it as excusitis. Like, you've got health excuses, you've got financial, you've got so many excuses that you can make. And just hearing you speak, obviously, it's a controversial statement I want to say. However, there's still truth in it, and I want to know your opinion because even when it comes to like race, like I feel like people can also make that an excuse in terms of how far they perceive that they can go, because systematically there's barriers 100%. Everyone's got their own different challenges. I'm not going to deny that. However, there's still people that come up in the same scenarios or backgrounds as you that still manage to find a way through. So that for me makes me think no, like that, like it's not true. And I feel like having a mentality where you perceive that you're just bound completely from ever persevering. It's almost like a self-defeating mindset, and it's like you'll never ever surpass that level because you always feel like you're limited, like you can't reach another point. But again, it might come down to belief system. I understand that, but yeah, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like race is also used as an excuse at times?
100% race is used as an excuse, but I tell people all the time, man, talent can't be denied.
Mm.
No matter what color you are, you get to a stage where your talent just can't be denied, and you're gonna go through those doors and bust those doors down. Do you understand? But you have to believe in your talent, and I think that's where the issue is, because people start making excuses for their race. But have you gone all out? Have you given your best effort? Have you done everything that you could do? And let's just call a spade a spade. Are you even the most talented at what you do? Because you're saying it's your race, and you're right to a certain extent, but are you even the best at what you do? So, and this is what I mean by talent can't be denied. Like, I've gone to places where I'm the only black guy, but my talent can't be denied. I ain't gone there thinking, oh my gosh, I'm the only black guy. Oh, they're gonna like me. I know I'm good, so I go there and I shut it down. And you got to have that same confidence within yourself. So you got to know your worth. You got to know the value that you have to give, and I think those things play a big part. So if you find people making the race excuse, I would challenge you and say, well, do you really believe in yourself? Do you really believe in the value that you have to give? Because if you did, then you know that your talent can't be denied regardless of your race.
Mm.
And I think that's what it is. If you're really good at what you do, your talent cannot be denied. Like
Mm.
you're just gonna get to a stage that even that organization, even that in they're doing themselves a disjustice by not
Mm.
working with you.
Mm. Mm.
Like, you know, I remember someone said to me years ago, they said, be so good that that your signature turns into an autograph.
Mm.
And I was like, oh. And what they were saying is you just get to a stage where you're talented. I've done talks where kids have wanted my signature at the
Mm.
end of it. Queue. Whole
Mm.
year group's queuing up. Oh, can you just sign? Can you? I don't have no fancy signature.
Mm.
I just write Mr. Beezy. But it's the fact that you want a piece of me to go home with you. That's deep. Talent can't be denied, bro. So don't use race as an excuse. Or if you want to use race as an excuse, I think ask yourself, are you the best at what you
Mm. Even what you just said, there will still be people that will feel triggered. Like, how dare he say that?
do?
How dare he? Like, and then you get people complaining. But I feel like a lot of the time people don't want to hear the truth because it's almost like they. Obviously, we're all guilty at times. But I'm trying to say it's like it's almost like you want to just be validated and justify why you're not doing certain things when in reality you have to be challenged sometimes, and not everyone's gonna like that challenging. Some people are gonna respond to it differently. Some people will get their back up. Some people will actually be like, okay, you know what, he's right, and I'm gonna change my situation. But in the end of the day, not everyone's gonna make the right decisions in it, so the choice is yours. But it doesn't deny the truth that what you said in it. Like it's just facts. Talent is not denied because in the end of the day, a lot of these places are the marketplace, innit? They want to make money, and if you're the talent, if you're bringing the people, that should inevitably just succeed, innit? Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not denying that there's all these other underlying elements of different situations, but you need to focus on what you can control because you cannot focus on the external factors. You can just focus on yourself, and I feel like mindset, mentality is so important if you actually want to get anywhere. Um, so yeah, man. So thank you for sharing that, man. One thing I want to know as well is like, where can people find you for one, and what is the future looking like for you as well? Like,
Cool.
what are you looking to
So
do?
people can find me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Mr underscore Beezy, Snapchat, the real Mr Beezy, YouTube, the real Mr Beezy, Twitter, the
Mm,
real Mr Beezy, or TikTok, the real Mr
mm,
Beezy again. I've got my own website, www.mrbeezy.com. The future for me is honestly like I'm really enjoying coaching at the moment.
mm,
So of course, like career wise, still going to be doing schools, colleges,
mm.
universities.
Are you doing one-to-one coaching as well, or just
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So the speaking side, still doing the school talks and stuff like that. I think definitely next year gonna go into corporate a lot more and sports. You know, working with some Premier League football teams
Mm,
and players. And then yeah, on the other side of things, the coaching side, just really coaching more people to be speakers. I think I'm gonna start doing maybe some more because I currently do it one to one. I think next year I'm gonna run some group coaching sessions as well. And
mm,
I think for me, I just want to see more people doing what I'm doing, whether you're speaking at a school, speaking in corporate. You
mm,
know, I just want people to overcome that anxiety of public speaking and be confident speakers, and that's what I help them to do. I teach you how to articulate your story. I teach you how to engage with an audience. I teach you how to be a better communicator and get paid.
mm,
Let's call it what it is. I believe if you do a good job, you should get paid for it.
mm,
You know. So for me, I really just want this thing to expand. You know, I really want to see a lot more speakers doing a good job, and I
mm,
think that's the key thing. I don't just work with any and everyone. Like if you know you're gonna work with me, I expect excellence
mm,
because you can't play with the audience that you're going to speak to. Words have
mm,
power. So you have to understand that, you know, you have to be an excellent speaker. And that's what
mm,
I train my speakers to be. I train them to be excellent. So for me, I just want to train as many people as possible. So if you're someone listening and, you know, you're interested in public speaking, then hit me up, man. And let's discuss how I can help you for sure.
Come on, guys. Mr. Beezy, man. Come on, let's give him a round of applause. You know what I mean? Make sure you follow him on all platforms. And yeah, man, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to his channel, follow him up and support him. Yeah, comment below and let him know how you found this video. See you in the next one.